Hey everybody, it's Hannah Burnell Williams, your favorite policy and research analyst here at Mississippi Votes, and I am coming back to you with another video. Now today's video is going to be dedicated to educating everyone about our citizens behind bars who are actually eligible to vote. So a lot of people don't know, but just because you're detained or you may be serving a lengthy sentence doesn't mean that you're already automatically disqualified from voting. It's pretty much common knowledge that if you have a felony, it kind of bars you from voting. Well, in the state of Mississippi, that's not 100% true. There are only 23 crimes that are considered disenfranchising that could keep you from voting. Now we're going to bring it back to our pretrial detainees. Someone who is in pretrial detention is someone who is currently being detained at a correctional facility, most likely a jail, not a prison, and is awaiting trial for a crime that they have been charged of but not convicted of. So for those individuals, if you're not registered to vote, or if you're being detained during the election season and you are registered to vote, this means that one, if you're not registered, you can register, and two, if you are registered, you can request an absentee ballot and fill that out, have it returned back to your circuit clerk's office. If you ask the powers that be to help you, they're pretty much obligated to help you simply because it's literally the law. Like, you cannot be refused your right to vote. And two, you probably will need to fill out a change of address form. What that means is when you get a new voter registration form, that you're gonna go and put your information at the top, like your name, address, your social security number, all that type of stuff. And instead of checking new registration, you're gonna check change of address. Now, this is important because a lot of people don't understand the difference between their physical address and their mailing address. Your mailing address is just simply where you get your mail at. Your physical address is where you are physically staying. Your physical address is what's going to determine when and where you can vote. If you choose to keep your physical address to where you're currently being detained, you can put your correctional facility information down on your change of address form and turn it in. And now you can request the absentee ballot from the place that you are in. If you yourself are not detained or have not been detained, but you know someone that is detained, make sure you give them this information, especially if they want to still remain civically engaged within what's going on currently with the political climate, locally and nationally. Very important information. So make sure you let everybody know. If you are a pretrial detainee that has been charged and not convicted, you can still register to vote and cast a ballot. And if you are serving a crime in a federal prison, state prison, private prison, prison period, doesn't matter, and you have not been charged of one of the 23 disenfranchising crimes, then you are eligible to register and cast a ballot as well. Now below there is gonna be a list of the 23 disenfranchising crimes, or a link to some. You guys are free to go through those and educate yourself and see what the state of Mississippi holds priority over other types of crimes. But that brings me to felony voters. Again, all felonies do not bar you from participating in electoral processes. Only the 23 disenfranchising crimes are. In some cases, if you do commit one of these crimes in another state and are charged in another and are convicted in another state, finish your sentence and move to Mississippi, you are still eligible to vote as a Mississippi resident. We don't count that against you here. So you can kind of see how it's a little inconsistent with how we view the 23 disenfranchising crimes. So here's a little background information about the 23 disenfranchising crimes and how they came to be. A lot of people don't know this, but prior to even the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act of 64 and 65, Black Mississippians had already obtained the right to vote. But once the Constitution of 1890 came around, they pretty much started to bring back and reinforce Jim Crow era laws and ways. This was really the start of the Jim Crow era that stuck for as long as it did, because prior to Jim Crow, although Blacks had already attained the right to vote in the state of Mississippi, of course we were still being scared and traumatized and had mobs coming after us just for trying to register or cast a ballot. There started a process to compile a list of crimes that were going to greatly disenfranchise the Black voter bloc, okay? And so all of the crimes listed below are crimes that have been accumulated almost 100 years that people that white dignitaries in the state of Mississippi felt would put some control over Black voters in the state. Now, for a period of time, these crimes did largely disenfranchise the Black voter bloc. As of 2020, not as much. The latest crime to be added to the list was voter fraud, very recent. But as of the 21st century, Black people are not committing a lot of these crimes, and the crimes that Black people are committing the most or are getting caught up in the most are nowhere to be found on the list. And again, you can definitely vote. Gun charges and drug charges are not on the 23 disenfranchising crime. I feel like, personally for me, I feel like that information is very important to get out, because I know a lot of people who have been caught up in unfortunate situations, and those are one of the 2 charges that they end up having, and they feel like their life is over, when actually it is not. You can still vote. So don't be shy. Don't think that you're automatically excluded from what's happening in the political scene around you just because you have obtained a felony charge. If it's not one of the 23 disenfranchising crimes, you are still eligible to participate in everything that is happening around you. Do not for a second be told that you're not, and if they are telling you that you're not, it's absolutely illegal, okay? So here is a recap of all the things we have talked about in this video that I think are important for you to know. Here are some words to keep in your head, okay? Pre-trial detainee can register and participate and cast a ballot absentee if you have been charged but not convicted. If you have a felony offense and it is not one of the 23 disenfranchising crimes, you can also register and or cast a ballot absentee no matter where you are. If you need to fill out a voter registration form, make sure you know the difference between your physical address and your mailing address. If you're doing a change of address form, make sure you check change of address and put down your new physical address. There is absolutely no reason why a circuit clerk cannot accept your voter registration form if you are 1, being detained, or 2, serving time and have not been convicted of a disenfranchising crime. If they refuse to take your voter registration form, it is illegal, okay? And the fine folks at the Secretary of State's office will give a stern talking to their circuit clerks. You can also call the voter protection hotline. They can also advise you on what to do. You can go to the MississippiVotes.org website and find out whether or not your form has been processed or has not been processed. And these are tips for people who can get to a computer. If you can't get to a computer, have a family member check it for you. If you are the family member watching this and you know that you have someone that has registered to vote and you want to check the status of what's going on with their voter registration form, not only can you go to the MississippiVotes.org website and find out their precinct, find out if the form has been processed or not. If it hasn't been processed, it should say like the information is not found. Call the circuit clerk's office and ask them why they have not processed that voter registration form, because they probably do have it. And if for whatever reason they refuse to process it because of the physical address that's listed as a correctional facility or prison, it's illegal. They can't do that. Those are some ways that you or someone you know can still be involved in the political processes and the political scenes around the state of Mississippi and nationally, of course, because you can still participate in the national elections if they are a citizen behind bars. I hope that this video was helpful. Make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, it's up to us. See you guys in the next one. Bye.